One of the particular features of your programme are community grants, relatively small sums given to local voluntary organisations to take forward issues to do with skills and employability in their areas. That approach is very different from the big strategic contracts, the sort of thing we've been talking about up until now. What sort of added value do you think that very small scale provision brings?
Well, I think we deliver community grants in all of the regions apart from London. And we find that it's a vital tool in helping people on the first step back into learning or employment opportunities. It's for those that are furthest away from the labour market and otherwise would be highly unlikely to take advantage of any other mainstream or ESF skills or employment provision. So I think it is invaluable. It does help those hardest to reach to actually get closer to being able to contribute to society and have a more meaningful life and opportunities.
So your argument then is that that very small scale provision is able to reach some of the very hardest to reach people, even above and beyond the sorts of provision that's already in place to do that. How does that work? How does that very local approach manage to achieve those sorts of results?
I think it's because of it is so small and niche, and because it's not necessarily aligned completely with the type of other provision that we do. It's not purely about skills provision. It's not purely about qualifications or outcomes. It's about those very first steps, and we're operating it on behalf of the operational programme, if you like, not just because it's part of our remit as an agency. So it's one of the areas where we're operating on behalf of another organisation or the programme as a whole, if you like. And I think it's that the small scale size of it, the fact that it is very grassroots, that it's able to do even more of the tailored provision to understand the whole view of an individual and what their issues and needs are, rather than just looking at their skills needs or how to get them into a job, whether or not that's right for them or not.
And community grants are still available to small local organisations, people could still apply?
Yes, there are. We appointed a further range of grant coordinating bodies in each co-financing plan region for the second half of the programme, and many of those still have funding opportunities available. Those can be accessed, the deadlines and the opportunities are available on the esf.gov.uk website.
From the end of 2014 there'll be a new ESF programme, and discussions are already underway as to what it should look like, what its priorities might be. From what you've seen over the last few years, from your experience in this, where do you think the priorities should lie? How do you think ESF could continue to make a contribution?
We've already been involved in discussions around the content and the delivery options for ESF in the new programme with ESF Division and other partners and stakeholders. And I think the broad intent of continuing to support growth and jobs is absolutely right in the current climate. What we've got to make sure is that there's enough flexibility built into the programme so that if the economy turns around in the next 7 years, that we're able to accommodate whatever that may bring further on down the line, and we're not restricted to the type of activities that we're planning about now and thinking about now. So I'd like to see built-in flexibility. I think the best way to do that is to have a much broader programme that has the flexibilities downstream or at the lower level of procurement. I also think there are opportunities to streamline the programme further in terms of some of the administration burden. We obviously have taken on some of that burden through co-financing and taken that away from providers, for instance, having to find their own match funding and so on.
So you would argue that a very local approach does really bring some benefits in terms of tailoring provision to what's really most needed?
I think that the programme needs to have different tiers of programming built into it, if you like. But I wouldn't want to go back to the local bidding approach that we had in the past, because that clearly was much more burdensome to administer than the current system that we have now. But we do need to retrieve some of the local input that was lost when regional committees and other local mechanisms disappeared in recent times. I think one of the ways that can be achieved is through the LEPs and core cities as part of their strategic planning, to make sure they're able to build in the opportunities to use ESF strategically to support their needs. I don't think necessarily that they need to run ESF directly, but by articulating in their plans how they want to see ESF supporting their local areas, we can then build that in to the way that we procure provision to deliver to that.
Julie, thank you very much indeed.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.